In this episode, Big Beacon Radio host and coach Dave Goldberg explores coaching with Sarah Happel, Ellen Fulton, and Pam Patterson of George Mason University's Cutting Edge Center for the Advancement of Wellbeing. Listen and explore how coaching can be used on an individual and organizational basis. Learn how George Mason's Wellbeing Focus program differs from other coaching programs, and discover the ways in which the ideas and practices of coaching can help transform an organization.
There are lots of misconceptions about coaching, and lots of untrained people call themselves a coach. But what's coaching from your perspective? Pam, let's go to you.
Coaching from my perspective is really about helping the client meet their goals, very simply put. And I think that a lot of the reasons that we get into some of the misconceptions about coaching is because you often find people who are in relationships where they have either mentored somebody or maybe helped someone get from point A to point B. And so maybe there's a little bit of a coach in all of us, but in order to be really effective in coaching in its purest form, we all know that process is more extensive than some people may think on the face.
What about the differences between, say, consulting and coaching? How are consulting and coaching different, Sarah?
That's a great question, and it's frankly one of the big sticklers that I see my clients get caught on, is that they don't recognize when this is a chance for problem solving and for consulting and for telling versus coaching. And the difference really is between telling and problem solving and actually giving somebody the answer, whereas coaching is asking open-ended questions and really treating like the coachee in the conversation that they already have the answer within them. So it's not being too attached to the result. It's still a very a purposeful conversation, but each leader needs to really recognize, is this a chance for me to step back from problem solving and actually telling them what to do, and am I able to let go here and let the person come to the answer themselves? So there's a really big distinction there that I see too many people who are very high up in leadership, and they don't really understand the distinction between problem solving and coaching, where the number one rule is that you treat the person that you're in the conversation with that they already have the answer. So it's observing, asking questions, and it's not being too attached to the result.
This is more of a general question than a George Mason question, but why has coaching become such a hit? People like heads of Google and Microsoft are saying everybody needs a coach. Why is it taking off like it is? Ellen, let's start with you.
It's taking off because it works, and it's individual, right? So you work with people, whether it's on the tail end of a program, and then you put in coaching to say what stood out to you and what relates to you and what do you want to do with it. It's somebody there to help you integrate and move forward and make sense personally. The government, for instance, we're in the Washington, D.C. area, has really done some fabulous things with integrating coaching at a variety of different levels. So I've had individuals that have gotten into coaching in the government, and it's shifted even maybe what their whole focus is, and shifted and get them more aligned with where they may be the most effective, what might be the most interesting to them. And it's taking off because it makes a difference.
Yeah, Sarah, what's your take?
I would absolutely agree. It's making a difference. And I would also say that the field of coaching in general is starting to mature. And people, the general public, are starting to understand, executive coaching, leadership coaching, life coaching, well-being coaching. People are starting to understand what it is. They're getting a taste of it. And the other big trend I would say that we're seeing is that coaching is being embedded at all levels of an organization. So it used to be that two things, I think, in the beginning of the field that you'd see. One was remedial coaching. For example, this is Bob's last chance, otherwise he's going to lose his job, so get in here, coach, and coach him to be a better employee. We're not seeing that nearly as much, but more so we're seeing coaching being embedded all over the place. So for retirement or onboarding or, of course, getting to the top echelons of leadership, I'm seeing coaching being embedded all over the place. Team coaching now, it's taking off as well. And we're also seeing a lot of colleagues who are saying, why do we have to wait until we're in the C-suite and 60 years old to get this wonderful competency? Let's have it earlier. So you're seeing emerging leaders and even with, onboarding and first coming to the company, as far as also getting it into higher education and getting it to younger people. We're seeing lots of requests. Hey, this is wonderful. Will you coach coach my grandchildren, where you coach my sons and my daughters. So it's really just starting to mature as a field as well.
Yeah. Let's turn to what's going on at George Mason. Demand for coach training has increased, and George Mason has a really rich variety of offerings in coach training. Pam, what can you tell us about them?
So we have two programs. Both are leadership coaching for well-being, organizational well-being. We have a certification program that is focused on organizational resilience and coaching to organizational resilience. And then our advanced coaching program is also cohort-based, and that is for coaches that want to dive deeper after they've already been through a coach training. So we know that leaders are being asked to lead in much more complexity, and holding that complexity has become much more challenging, I think, in today's times. And I guess the other thing I would say is that I was recently reading an article that nearly 2/3 of all U.S. employers say that by 2018 they will have a focus on developing well-being in their organization. So I think we're serving a need and a greater call for coaches to be able to serve in this capacity.